What is up, winning team? Hello, my beloved lovelies. So, today, I just want to talk about how insane it was, the first video that I uploaded, like when I decided to get serious about YouTube, and how we just didn't know. Because if you guys remember, I don't know if any of you guys were there on from the first video, right? Because this channel's been through a journey. But when I first officially started this channel, and my first video was about Britney Spears, and I was reading the Bible. I can't believe it. So anyways, I have videos that I'm going to film today when I get back. But beforehand, I'm taking a walk. To get some fresh air. Because I like to be the best version of myself before I record. This is why you guys tend to find I record videos after I've been outside, because I just feel a lot better. You know, you guys don't need to see the version of me that's just hating everything. But anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about. Also, I wanted to snoop because it's Sunday morning. So I finally want to see what it looks like for any of these churches to actually be open. Since they're closed all the time. But yeah, so I just can't believe it, basically, guys, because I've already been planning for today's videos, and I've been doing a bit of deep diving, because you guys know I like to do my social media deep dives where I see what's the latest that's going on. I don't personally care as far as and this is again something I critique Christians for, is, you know, of course, guys, a lot of what's out there and what's happening in the world is just dumb and stupid, yeah? And we want nothing to say about it. But for those of us who are going to be speaking about stuff, we have to actually pay attention to an extent, because this is the world we're living in. It's the same way I look at working with kids and how I even got into things like the Sidemen in the first place. It's because, well, if I teach the youth, I need to be aware of what the youth are consuming. You know, this is what I critique parents for, where I'm they don't know what their kids do. They don't know who these people are that they're following. I'm that's an issue. You might not care. It might seem like a lot of nonsense to you. And for a lot of it, it is a lot of nonsense. Just like a lot of the stuff I see going on. I don't really care what's going on in Hollywood. I don't really care what's happening on with whatever influencers, right? I don't really care. But the thing is, they are having an influence and an impact on the world I'm living in. So it's unwise for me to just not be involved. That's why I don't really respect people when they're oh, I don't really keep up with what's going on. And I'm okay, so you're just going to be ignorant to the world around you and confused about what's happening? It's not the flex you think it is. I just wanted to quickly point out how pretty this tree is. But yeah, it's not the flex you think it is. Because now you're just an ignoramus. So even though I know it's going to annoy me, I must endeavor to dive in and be aware. And also, it informs me, because then, like I said, when I'm hanging around young people, I actually know what they're talking about. Which helps me to make sure there's nothing inappropriate going on as well. Anyway, on that note, one of the thoughts I was having just now today, and I was thinking about, and it's a perfect example of what I mean about what I just said, about being ill-informed. So I was thinking about how, there's obviously there's a lot of issues with the concept of migration and immigration around the world right now, yeah? Especially in the West. And this is something I feel very interested by, having gone through the actual process of immigrating and knowing what it was like, and having lived in a few different places, right? Which, again, this is why I do think that the devil, the kingdom of darkness, I'd rather say the kingdom of darkness, because it's a whole kingdom. And I think sometimes we give a little bit too much credit to the devil, as if he's the only one. It's similar to what I said to you guys about how people fixate in the Bible, in Revelations, they'll fixate on the mark of the beast and the Antichrist. But there's this thing called the whore of Babylon, and the mother of all prostitutes, who's planned to enslave all the kings of the earth, or whatever it was, and it gets drunk on the blood of the saints. And I'm and we're not talking about her, but we're talking about the Antichrist. As if anything, the Antichrist is just there to deceive, but she's there to enslave. And again, I told you that's always the strategy with the devil. When it comes to the body of Christ, it's to deceive us. And when it comes to the world, it's to enslave. That's the twofold strategy. And I've explained it. But anyway, I was thinking about how funny the world is and how, like, I can tell you for free, I do think that that immigration is an issue in this country. And I'll tell you why. I've seen it in this town, and I'm going to single them out for a reason. A lot of the Somalis who come here, I don't like how the Somalians have influenced British culture, and I'm not even a white British person, which is funny, because they have played a big role in all of the Islam stuff. Which again, I think the UK people can't really say much because you don't believe in anything, so that's unwise. That's what's really unwise. Is not people coming here as much as it's you not having anything you actually stand on. Because what are your actual morals and values? Because I couldn't tell you what the morals and values are of people from this country. I couldn't tell you what they're patriotic about. If you go other places around the world, I can tell you one at least characteristic specifically about people. Here it's all just pride, but it's like pride in what? In the empire of yesteryear? But anyway, and then you have, so I agree with that. And also because I have seen a lot that it is the Somalis are the group I fear the least as a woman, being out and about, because they tend to hang out in groups in public spaces, and they're very predatory. And they're the ones who you find with teenage girls in the forest in the middle of the day. And as I said, my own brother was the one having to hound the police, right? Hound the police. My brother, a black man, hounding the police about these predators to get them, and they did get charged. The same guy that my brother kept every time he would see him, because my brother didn't have anything on him, like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't have any proof or of anything that was happening. But every time he would see him, he would, like, do the things that guys do. And eventually he got, the guy did get charged and arrested and everything, and it was in the news. But then, this is the thing. It's stupid as a country. Like, this one, like, this country doesn't learn. They need to learn from Brexit that the government always has their angle. Because those same teenage girls we're talking about, yeah, the same teenage girls are at risk where? In the schools being taught by white British nationals. Because why am I hearing yet again today of more and more stories, yeah, of teachers, and this is why I've been realizing it. The reason that I hate, the fact that I hate teaching, yeah, there's actually layers to it. There's actually layers to it, because I don't hate the teaching of the kids itself, but everything about the job, and I especially hate the other stuff you have to deal with. That's the number one thing why I don't want to be there, even more than the curriculum itself. Can you imagine? Is having to live with the stuff. Okay, so now I see people outside the synagogue. Okay. So what's the time? Okay, because I want to see. Now, the thing that immediately throws me off is that these people don't look like what I normally expect of the Jewish community. Oh, and their flag actually has something else written on it. I think it says Great Britain or something. The flag, there's got a flag there. Interesting. They're not dressed in the usual Jewish attire, so we'll have to get to grips with who these people are. If those two are still there on my way back, I'm going to definitely stop and have a conversation. You all know me, and get some intel. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been realizing there's so many layers to why I hate this job. Yeah. And a lot of it is a lot of teachers are actually predators in hiding. Another story, there was a story I saw even in the States of one of these famous influencers. I don't really know him, but his older sister was a teacher, grooming one of her students. She'd been in a relationship with one of her students. She teaches at high school. She'd been grooming him for years, right? And when I say that the text messages were chilling, but not surprising to me as a teacher. And I'll tell you like what the text messages were like. She was trying to basically say she was going to give oral sex to this kid, yeah? Which it was traumatizing to read, yeah? And she's like, are you free tomorrow? I'd love to see you, blah, blah, blah. Poor teenage boy, obviously, he's like at home, which thank God, this is why I say there's so much wisdom in why God does things the way they do. There's so much wisdom in you growing up at home and like not just being there free for the streets. You know what I mean? Because you have parents, you're in an environment where things just can't happen as a kid. Like, and imagine, he's in high school, he's only going to be 18 next month. So all it takes, he moves out and there you go. The teacher, like especially these predators, I'll come over. I've had the whole I'll come over thing myself. And we won't get into that today. But it's heinous, like, because that's what happens. That's what I'm saying. Everything that I've been discovering goes back to exactly what I said from the beginning, that if we just all did everything the way God said from the beginning, we would all be thriving. We would all be thriving, because even just at the basic level of, if we all were growing up in happy, healthy, thriving, God-centered, Holy Spirit-filled homes, yeah, we would go out into the world and be happy, healthy, God-centered, Holy Spirit-filled people, and that would create the world. That's why I'm like, it's so backwards how we try to fix, like, always it's like how they talk about crime, right? This is what I get annoyed about. Oh, we want to reduce violence. We want to reduce knife crime. We want to reduce theft. I'm like, people are stealing because people are suffering. People are turning to crime and gangs because they finally found a community, somewhere they belong, somewhere where they get to, have leadership or mentorship or opportunities that they're not having. All things which go back to the home, right? All of it. And living a happy, thriving life, seeing their parents struggling and stuff like that is driving them to do crazy things. Again, women need to stop putting their bodies online. Again, it's more profitable. Like, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. I saw that girl, right? And it really creeps me out. Because, like I said, it's one thing to talk about, the sexual predators and the Muslims attacking young girls in Britain. It's another thing that why is it girls are making 50 million a year, right? And like 10 million like overnight when they've gone 17 to 18 on OnlyFans. Yeah, that's weird. That's actually weird. So it's like, to me, everybody's a weirdo. Everybody's a freaking weirdo at that point. Because I even saw, because obviously I think there's Coachella happening in the States, right? This girl, Sophie Rayner, she's the one that creeps me out because she's only just barely 18. She makes 50 million a year on OnlyFans, yeah? And that's just insane. She's one of those who turned 8 before she was 18, made questionable content. Now, my thing about being a teenage girl or teenage boys is let kids be kids. Like, leave them, because this is what was creeping me out about this teacher's text messages. Because the teacher was like to this boy, because he was getting annoyed at her basically, and she was getting annoyed at him for getting annoyed at her. Because she's like, you're not serious. If you were really serious, then you would be able to this. So she's being very forceful. And then he says himself, and this is the bit that shattered my very heart, because it reminds me of the feeling of when your innocence is like being violently stripped away from you, right? And he says, this is crazy. You always do this. Like, I'm literally a high schooler. Like, I'm in high school. Like, and he's like the one who's like, this is so inappropriate. Like, whatever. But obviously, on the other hand, it's kind of cool and whatever. And she's like, why are you trying to make me feel bad? You should be grateful. You're getting all the benefits of being in a relationship without actually having to be committed and have to do this. I was like, why? What is this? Like, and this is the teachers. Jeffrey Epstein, teacher. So I'm saying, teachers. A lot of the teachers, just like a lot of people in places of power, just like a lot of managers, it's like some police, not all, some. What an excuse. You see, this is the nonsense I'm talking about. So they're cutting down the other trees so they can do this. So they can plant new ones where they'd prefer. What is this? What is this? Yeah, even across the road. And there's places all over the town. And it's like, guys, do you know how long it takes the tree to grow? This is like the most brain dead behavior ever. But yeah, so this is what this teacher's saying to this kid, and he's having to defend himself. So that's why I'm like, well, we can talk about the problem with immigrants in this country or another country. So we can talk about the problem with people coming and doing whatever. And I can talk about the Somalis in the forest, yeah? With teenage girls in the middle of the day when their parents are at work and they're supposed to be at school. They're bunking school because they think it's cool to talk to an older guy, yeah? That's one thing I didn't do. and as in bunk school, but I did think it was cool to talk to an older guy. And so, but then at the same time, in the same places you're being educated, there's also creeps. Because I'm like, when I was at school, looking back, there were, like I've said, there was one teacher, I wish for the life of me I can remember his name, who used to video up our skirts in class. And this was in maths, guys. And we all knew about it, but we all just joked. Like I said, the ice cream van, just here. The ice cream van, just here. Just randomly just seen a Pokemon card. The ice cream van just there on the premises. So me as a teacher does all this safeguarding, this training, that training, DBS, background, all of this, right? To walk into the school building, good. But again, does it really mean anything? Because I'm like, it kind of feels like all the people who are qualified just are the ones who know how to find the loopholes. Because like I said, you see the same thing when I've been watching all these videos by Gideon, the pedophiles, when they're talking to kids, yeah, they're so degenerate and violently violent about the things they want to do. And then they get caught and they're like, oh no, oh my gosh, I didn't know. Like, I made a mistake. I know I shouldn't have done it. And now they want to play the innocent card. And this is why you never spot the real predators. So my thing is, this is what I said to you guys. Where is safe? Nowhere is safe. Nowhere is safe. Nowhere is. Because look, even now, flipping Diddy's having the banquet of a lifetime in prison. Yeah. Especially because I feel like social media has exposed that a lot of men are low-key gay, which I've thought that anyway, before social media. It's exposed. I remember like even certain celebrities, knew something was off with them. I remember thinking about this in school. I remember I made so many predictions in school that were just random. Like one of them was like, I'm like, Chris Brown's going to die or he's going to have a baby. And then next thing he had a baby. That was one of them. I had all these predictions. And they just came true, and they'll just come to my head, and then I'll just say them. A lot of people low-key gay, you know, in the world. And now social media is exposing it, because you see, the thing is, and this is what I say, we're all playing high and mighty until we all have places where we can do the degenerate things we want to do in private and not get caught. So before, if you wanted to go off in your little gay escapades, you couldn't. So you probably just keep that to yourself. Now, woo, we got social media, we've got online this and that. You can do things on the sly. You can find people you want on the sly. This is why I realized, the trans men and women, this is why a lot of them have a lot of pride, which honestly, they have every right to have, because they know everybody's secrets. They know all the secret gay people, especially men. Because that's who they're sleeping with, these people in private. So that's why you catch a lot of them always with like a smirk on their face and not thinking they're doing anything wrong. Because as far as they're concerned, they're just helping. They're just helping. This is what I'm saying. This world is crazy. Hold on, I need to do my shoelace. And I swear I redid this shoelace just so I wouldn't have to redo it. Hold on. So there's that. So I'm like, everywhere is weird. Everywhere is flipping weird. Everywhere is weird. Everyone is weird. And this is why I'm saying the irony of starting from Britney Spears, a young girl who just wanted to sing, like, you know, and it's always the innocent ones. It's always the innocent ones who just wanted to do their talent. I was thinking about this with Justin Bieber, who again started out on social media, started out making videos on YouTube. That's how he got recruited, right? He's just there singing, enjoying himself. And then the next thing you know, Hollywood gets involved. And it all goes downhill. That's what I'm saying. As soon as the adults get involved, this all starts to go downhill, because they come with them and all of their demons, and they want to contaminate the youth. That's what they're trying to do. That's why I'm like, keep your demons away from me. I've got my own things, enough demons to have to deal with that I or others invited into my life. I don't need you with your, like, this is how I feel in general. I don't know about this world. People are weird these days. Stay clear. Like, that's why I want everybody to stay clear. I don't want to be contaminated. I've been contaminated enough without my consent to this point, and now I'm still having to deal with the consequences of that. But yeah, Britney, innocent girl, just wanted to sing, talented. She should be able to. She should be able to just sing and be talented and do her thing. But no, She was like watching the interviews. I can't believe the older generations just sat around for this stuff. Well, then I can, because they're all guilty. They're all guilty. It was normal. And I don't get what's normal about it, because it doesn't matter if that's just what they did at the time. Where is your moral compass? This is why I know the Holy Spirit is not in a lot of people who call themselves Christians. A lot of people who right now, in fact, I'm walking past one of the buildings we used to have church ourselves, actually the first one. A lot of people are in church right now, praising the name of Jesus, right? Feeling good about themselves. They're going to come back and feel accomplished. We went to church today. I caught up with so-and-so. I did this, I did that. Feeling so good about themselves. And you don't even have a relationship with the Holy Spirit. This is what I'm saying. The Holy Spirit should be the thing to make you feel uncomfortable. When you were seeing this stuff, because like I said, even as a kid, it made me uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable. So much stuff that I saw. So many things that adults would actually say to me. And I'm like this high schooler, when he was like, I'm in freaking high school, like he said, whatever, to the teacher. I was thinking, mate, I feel you there. I feel you when you say that. It's like, even still. And then, like I said, it's the guilt tripping. It's the guilt trip. Oh, there's a Pokemon card show. Well, that explains a lot. Low-key, curiosity wants to really get the better of me right now. Really, really. The problem is the socializing. This is why I wish I could have an invisibility spell. If I could just hide and no one could see me and I want to go in, but I don't want to I don't want people to start talking to me. I don't want to say hello. I don't. Hi, are you here for... I'm already feeling drained just at the thought, let alone at the interaction. This is why I don't be going places, because the same thing happens to me in a store. Somebody walks up to me and starts asking me if they can help me. And I'm like, oh, but no, thank you. And normally, if it goes anything past that, I'm leaving. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to anyone. So I'm saying, don't come in near my space and contaminate me with your worldliness. And this is the crazy part. That's what I was like, when I started this channel, and we started on Britney Spears, and there's another flat building. My goodness. When we started on Britney Spears, I never would have thought it would lead to this. I never would have thought everything that we talked about all these years would lead to a point where this is what I'm talking about. And I would never know how accurate my starting point was. Because, literally, you've seen it in the video. I call out Britney Spears, Spears' family, for being fakes and phonies. And it's because I got irritated when I saw them being like, oh, we're so worried about Britney. We're so worried for Britney. We're praying for her. We hope that God... And as soon as they bring... Because that's my thing. Don't bring God into this. Don't bring God into this. You fakes and phonies. And the fact that it was all the adults oh, Britney's lost her way. Britney's this and Britney's that, yeah? Everyone was so quick to say all of this stuff. The same way, and it's but now we want to be all, oh, we should have known. And you know what? I'm happy that I was part of the people who believed her before it became popular to believe her. Because that's the other thing. Everyone wants to be all high and mighty now. Oh, it's so sad what happened to Britney. It's so sad. It's yeah, but you were the same people. You were the same people when some of us were being taught about myths and fables and how all the gods of this and that were all fake, right? While some of us were having our teachers taking pictures up our skirts, and ice cream men telling us about how they like to have sex on the thing where everybody goes and gets their ice creams. Yeah, while some of us were going to church and being judged for wearing a tracksuit, yeah, and told this, that, and the other, or whatever. Yeah, while some of us were going and learning about, for some reason, an inspector calls in English where somebody kills themselves by drinking bleach, and then of Mice and Men, where a guy has to shoot his best friend in the back of the head, right, because he's a danger to himself and everyone. And great expectations about a woman who got left at the altar or whatever, who never leaves the room, who's depressed, reading, what was the other one? Oh, what was it called? The one with the kid who grew up in Auschwitz, during the concentration camps. Is that really what we're teaching? Because that's the GCSE material, and it still is for English. There was nothing more age appropriate. That's what I'm saying. There's this adultification that happens, and then at the same time, patronization, right? Oh, you're an adult. You're this. You need to do this. Oh, what about all these adults? This is what I'm like. Let kids be kids. If kids do whatever they do, they'd let them do it. Let's just not really get involved. Let's educate them where necessary, you know. But like, so while we're getting all of this is happening to us, while we're all being exposed to social media and there's grown men messaging me and all this, that and the other, while I'm just trying to talk to my friends online and we're talking about what routine we want to do for the dance show, and I'm just Googling games that I want to play and I just want to literally play games, yeah. While all this is happening, you people were licking the asses of hypocritical, demonic pastors, preachers, priests, popes, right? They were still listening and engaging with, listening to the music of, supporting known predators and pedophiles before our very eyes. Before your very eyes. You were still justifying, because there wasn't any law, abuse of kids, abuse of each other, domestic violence, right? You were still doing all of that whilst we were there in the places where you sent us to be and you told us we needed to be. That's how I look at my generation, and this is why I don't trust the older generations. You were the ones, yeah, sitting there pridefully with your broke selves, working as slaves in the freaking kingdom of darkness, talking about, oh, Britney Spears has lost her way because sis wanted to cut her hair because she was sick of being sexualized. Saying, oh, she's lost her way. She's been seen driving around because she wanted to go for a drive. Like, we all don't know how nice it is to go for a nice drive. You're all sitting around talking about how her parents need to control her money and they need to look after her money, even though she made it. Again, picking and choosing when it's going to be you're going to be adultified or patronized. Right? Because when she's making the money for everybody, being very adult, having to be responsible, actually getting on stage, actually doing the work, actually writing her own music, actually creative directing her own videos. Like I said, we all know one of her best videos, Give Me More, she recorded with her friends at a bar herself and made herself, right? She would come with her kids into the studio, record a song in 30 minutes, and that'll be her next hit. She's the one doing it, right? And so we're all happy for that. But then now when it comes to the money thing, everyone wants the control of the money all of a sudden. Everybody wants to have something to say about the money that's being spent and where the money's being spent and how the money's being spent. And of course, we found a way to make it so that the older people are the ones who needed to be in control of it. And now look at where she's at. And people still have the audacity to talk about Britney Spears the way that they do. And like, oh, look at her, what's going on with her and whatever. Still. And the people who made all the money, they're living life. Her sister, Jamie Lynn, is here begging for them to bring back Zoe 101 when she's the last person anyone wants to see on Zoe 101. So again, another show from my childhood ruined, realizing that what kind of person was the one at the center of all of this. Yeah, all getting pregnant on the show again while she was underage, but because she's one of those who do anything for power, like a lot of people, and anything for an opportunity, was desperately living in the shadow of her sister, like a jealous woman that she is. Yeah, was probably happy to get pregnant by some executive producer and whatever. And that's why we don't hear those stories, because some people are actually happy to go through these things for the sake of what they want, and it's usually the losers. And it's always the losers doing it as well. It's always the losers who are the ones who don't have access to the things that they want in this life and see others having it, who then build up this entitlement. Because I was thinking about this with the teacher thing, right? Why do you think these people do this with kids, like other teachers? And I realized a lot of people are doing things out of desperation, right? Because you don't get respect. Like I was thinking, a lot of these female teachers, because I told you just the other day, a guy was telling me a similar story about something that happened to one of his teachers, yeah, and how it made him uncomfortable. And again, I know a lot because a lot of people share their stories with me. Again, why? Because no one really takes me seriously. So it's a blessing and a curse all in one, right? I know I don't get taken very seriously, but also people are very loose-lipped around me and tell me their secrets and tell me everything, right? And this guy was telling me about this, right? I'm thinking, why do teachers do this? Why would any teacher, like, especially like these female teachers? And I know why. Because they are the worst kind of people. This is always the losers. They're the type of women that no man wants. And it's not even about their looks. That's what's the crazy part. Because people always think, oh, it's because they're ugly. No. Even this other lady, the one I saw from America, she's a very pretty woman, very beautiful. But it's their own character issues. They're probably unattractive in personality. They probably don't know how to take accountability. So they're looking to take advantage of somebody who doesn't know better. Right? They're looking to take advantage. Because I realized that's actually one of the main things, the reasons why we all know that, right? But as I'm getting older, I'm realizing because I'm no longer somebody that's easy to just take advantage of, it has significantly changed the type of people that I attract. And that's why I have mostly positive experiences with the male community now, which is kind of funny, but also kind of dark, because it's like, oh, so before, a lot of these people were attracted because I was younger, it was inappropriate, and they felt like they could take advantage, which is why the guys who would be attracted to me now weren't attracted to me then, because then why would they even be looking in my direction, because I'm just a little babe? That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then these are the people thriving. Kris Jenner living her life, doing whatever. literally could be blamed for the whole generation of my generation of girls changing their bodies, getting plastic surgery, you know, all the tricks of the trade that they did. Once again, she just had her 60th, of course. So she's in that age bracket that I'm talking about, yeah? And she's doing all of this. She's prostituted her daughters. Again, Kylie has yet another business venture. And the thing is, it's so funny about their business ventures because it'd always be like, whatever that they can do, whatever way they can sway the trends are currently happening. So when it's this, that's the trend. Now that the makeup and stuff is in the trend, now people are trying to get fit again because everybody's on GLP-1s, yeah? And now she's got Sprinter, a hydration and whatever supplement, because obviously everybody's all on the supplements these days, which again makes me laugh at these Western countries where they have all these supplements when I'm like, bro, go out in nature. I was thinking about this. People are so worried, yeah, about like, oh, we have all these products to clean your fruit and to clean your vegetables, to clean your meat, to clean your this, to try and stay strong. And you know what? It didn't occur to me today until I had something I had to do for work. And it literally brought up the point about vaccinations, right, for kids and stuff. And one of the points was about how us taking vaccines actually decreases our immune system, our strength of our immune system, which is true, if you think about it. Because normally, if you're getting given a vaccine, all you're getting given is, like a dead version of whatever disease it is so that your body can learn how to fight it, right? But hey, if we were just, I don't know, eating fruit straight off of the tree and not losing sleep, that we didn't go and wash all of this, maybe that would help to build our immune system. You know what I mean? This is why, like I said, being out in nature and touching grass is actually good for you, because just interacting naturally with the world is good for your health, because rather than always be protecting your fragile little self, which is what we do now, build up your internal strength. That's why even me, when this whole COVID thing happened, and I even got it myself, right? Guess what I did? I made soup and I ate fruits and vegetables. That's what I did. I made soup and I slept and I drank plenty of water. That's all I did. And that's all I did. And guess what? Here's the kicker. My grandmother died because of, well, I got to be careful about how I say this. Potentially, well, I'll tell you two things, yeah? According to her death certificate, I think COVID was the second reason. The first thing just so happened, it was something to do with her heart. I can't remember what it's called exactly. The first thing listed, coincidentally, happens to be a now known side effect of the vaccines, allegedly, right? I don't know if that's true. I'm probably just making that up, right? But you guys understand. And that's where I'm like, the ironies are just, you just can't make this stuff up if you tried. You couldn't make it up if you tried. And then we think we're smart. We think we're so smart with all this stuff we're doing, all this technology, where we're dying faster. We're dying more. We are now closer to death with more knowledge. It's almost as if God told us that in the beginning. Would you believe? It's almost as if God was the one who told us to follow his ways and do his things, and we would thrive, and that if we didn't, we wouldn't survive. And now we're all living just to survive. We're not even thriving, we're just surviving. Everyone's just surviving. That's why I can't bother. I don't want to hear anybody's problems about, oh, the cost of living, the rent prices, price of food. Like, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about everybody's issues in their relationships, this, that. Because, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, hearing people tell me about what's going on, like, all the stories I've heard about why people got divorced and how they got divorced, people that I know who are currently in relationships, people that I know who currently are in friendships. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I don't want to hear about it because it's just like, I want nothing left to say other than, let's turn to, I don't know, the Lord. And actually turn to him, not just when it's convenient, like the Christians of today are all going to be, like I was saying yesterday. This guy's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this Christian dance class. Right? But then when it comes down to it, and then that stupid lady, like that comment hit so hard for me when she's like, oh, you know, it's nice to see that we're protecting the purity of the young women. You think that that's good that we're doing, protect the purity of the young women in your churches. Protect the purity of the young women in your houses. Protect the purity, like, you want to protect the purity when it's somebody else. And of course, somebody else doing something. We're always happy when it's somebody else. Thank God that person's doing that. Thank God we wish there's more people like that in the world. Can you guys see why I actually hate it here? Like, am I crazy for hating absolutely everything about being here? On this entire planet. in this entire planet, and we're all just shooting ourselves in the foot. Because back to the immigration thing, yeah, I'm thinking about this because I had to. There's something I had to do today to do work to do with that. Not for me individually, but anyway. But I had to and I was thinking about even my mum's job, right, in the NHS, and how the NHS wouldn't function without people from outside, and how our tax money, yeah, because the Brexit thing, like I said, oh yeah, we leave the EU. That was the people were upset with the immigration from Europe. The Eastern Europeans. Yeah, mate, I went to Poland. It's giving hater energy. Those people are hardworking. Those people are to the point. And they even did another thing for Jesus. Like Jesus is has an official title in Poland. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, no surprise that they came here and they worked harder than the people that are here. I'm just saying this out of love, guys, because sometimes you need to wake up. And I feel like the West, people here, the people in this country, your governments lie to you, and they always make something else the problem that's not them when it's actually them. And you can see that because everybody else benefits except from you guys, because everybody else realizes they just capitalize off of what they can get and then they move on. So the only people who lose out are you. You are made to think everybody else is the enemy, but really it's the government. Just like how during COVID, I remember my very own landlord, he was very bitter because he, like a lot of people when COVID hit, the government gave out all these grants, this money to businesses. So the people who got in early, a lot of people just got a straight 50k from the government. I will admit, so a lot of them were other Europeans, and they did just take the money and they did just leave the country. Are you kidding me? If you take 50k from here, as you go somewhere like Poland, that's turned into 250,000 zloty. You just got 250,000 zloty from the UK government. Of course, I would just dip. And then you don't have to deal with the consequences of what's happening here because you're not here for them to have the jurisdiction. You did it legally through their very own system, so you didn't do anything illegal. You're taking this back to where your family and your people are. It's genius. So I remember my landlord obviously wasn't smart enough, and again, because he was a bit of a crook, which I do also attribute to his nationality. I'm not going to say which nationality because, yeah, I'm not 100% sure, right? And he was bitter because I remember us having a conversation about it during the whole thing, and he was like, well, did you not get this is money that everybody's been getting? Again, the government had the money, it went to other people who were smart enough to use your own systems that you can't even use yourself well, because you could have done the same thing. Literally just register a company. It cost me £25 and I registered my first company to register a company. Register a company, for flip's sake. You know what I mean? And I think you had to have proof of I don't know what. So even just have a side hustle. Just show up at a market once a month and sell something you hand make for you crochet in the middle of there's so many ways to hustle in this life. This is why I don't take excuses from people and I don't blame anything, because I'm just no excuse. Find a hustle. Do something. You're doing something. There's something you're doing that could generate money, right? Anyway. So there's that, right? But then there's also looking at the NHS, and because I've grown up with my mum, my auntie, every time they're around each other throughout my entire life, I've heard the stories of what's happening at the hospital, and obviously they live in different places in the country, so I know in detail what it's like. And it's insane to me how much money, tax-paying money, is going to them having to recruit outside the country, and it will take 3 years for them to fill a role, because they have to get them accommodation when they get here, they have to get them the paperwork, because there's not people here, because the education system is destroying the very own British people here. So then the people who are here are not getting into enough jobs. The people who are doing well are the people who can afford to do extra, can afford to pay extra, that are working harder because they immigrated, so they feel the guilt that if I don't do well, my parents came here on a boat, so now I have the guilt trip and the weight of the world if I don't succeed, or I come from certain backgrounds where you're just saying a B is considered a fail. They're going into these fields. People from here aren't. The government's again screwing you over, because things like teaching and things like healthcare, back just before I went to university, just before I did, they used to do these grants where they'll give you a grant of 10k a year, and you'll go to university for free, and all of this as a way to encourage you and guarantee you a job at the end of your degree. It's a way to encourage people into these fields, and they cut the funding for that. So now my mum, who works in a higher senior level position, spends her job where she could be using her expertise of over 30 years, right? Because she's been doing that job longer than I've been alive. She could be using that for the patients, but no, she's having to do all this paperwork and do all this stuff to fly somebody in from one person from Nigeria. My auntie was telling a story of how they had a lovely physician, an incredible doctor from Australia, who then had to leave literally because of the visa problems. So they've had good stuff for somebody else from Australia. So that's what it's from all the way from Australia, and they had to get rid of this doctor because the doctor was not the visa, like I said, the visa issues. So I'm like, and these things are the things I'm thinking about, yeah, because it's all just part of one same simple thing to me, which is that the world is ruled and controlled by these vicious, predatorial people, the losers. The world is run by losers, whichever way you look at it. And everybody else, all of us are all the victim. That's why I'm giving you guys all the examples. The kids are the victim. The people in church right now listening to these leaders, thinking that they're doing something good, paying money, listening to all their stuff, buying all their books and this and that. You don't even know the Holy Spirit, but you've read all of Joel Osteen's books. You don't even have a relationship with God, right? But you've watched you've been to every single TD Jakes conference. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know what your purpose is in life. You don't even think about purpose. You're sending your kids to school hoping that they do well and praying that they do well and going to prayer meeting, going to Bible study in the hopes to pray for your child's grades at school. Or you're not going to the Lord to ask the Lord what He placed inside your child and what pathway that they should take. Like it's just all so stupid to me. It's so stupid. Like it's so dumb and dense. Like everything about it is dumb and dense. That's why I'm like, it's so funny that where we started, I didn't know we would end up here. I just made a simple comment. Hey, this isn't godly. Don't try and bring God into this because you people don't know God. And that's why I said, guys, this is not a battle of good and evil. It's about truth versus the closest lie. Oh, the poor parents of Britney, look at all they have to deal with. Oh, it must be so hard being the benefactors of somebody who's actually talented and who's actually doing the work. It must be so difficult to be living in the house that your daughter paid for. How hard your life must be. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Oh, a story ticked me off last year. Yeah, one of my friends, I used to have one woman I spoke to, yeah, sweetest Christian girl ever, literally the sweetest, most caring ever person, way nicer than me. And she was telling me she's in the middle of a divorce. She's in her mid-20s. She's like 25, so she's younger than me. She's going through a divorce with a guy who was doing absolutely diddly squat because she was doing everything in the house and making money and paying like more than he was doing, and he was doing absolutely barely the bare minimum, barely anything. And it takes a lot for me to really say that, yeah. And again, he was being encouraged by his family and his own parents, his own mother. This is my worst nightmare, who was encouraging that behavior, right? And so she, being nice, is always just going to take on more of the load. On top of doing that, she was worried, working a full-time job in healthcare, also working as a teacher, yeah? She's working as a teacher. Whenever she's not teaching, on her days off of teaching, outside of teaching, she's in healthcare, because obviously you can work 24 hours in healthcare. So she's working 2 jobs. She now wants to study so she can get more job to make more money, because on top of that, she's paying the rent or whatever where she's living with her husband, who's now ex-husband. So now she's gone through a divorce already. And because she's also paying from her mother's mortgage, because her mother, who immigrated to the United States of America and can't speak English, so can't do anything. So she's paying a mortgage for her own parents, yeah? Paying for herself and her. I was like, you're living in my worst nightmare. And she's one of the sweetest people ever. And when she told me this story, I was infuriated. And you know what it was? When we were all having this discussion about it, people praise people for that. That's what the world we're living in. People praise the person that's overdoing everything, because it means they're doing everything and you haven't got to do nothing. And that made me sick. And that, I think, was a turning point, that story, because like I said, she's one of the sweetest people you could ever meet. Right? So lovely. And she was talking about how she loves to cook for everybody, and she loves to this and she loves to that and all this. And I was just like, this is what the world does. It takes beautiful souls. Like, I'm not a beautiful soul, guys. I'm not a beautiful soul. I'm not even a nice person. That's what's crazy to me, is that how am I the one who's seeing the issues and all this? I'm not even generally a nice person, in my opinion. Like, I have devious tendencies. You know what I mean? I like a bit of mischief. I like to get up to no good. I love a bit of, So when I see how the world treats these types of people who are just pure and innocent, or even Michael Jackson and all these things, and I see how they are destroyed, or even, like I said, I see how the Christians will defend all these pastors who left, right, and center are coming out. The same guy for the originator of Assemblies of God, he's now also whatever on the list. And there I was as a little baby in church in America with my little yellow whatever, at church. And because I was born in May, even though my mom hadn't given birth yet, she was still a mother, so she stood up. They asked her to stand up anyways to pray for her on Mother's Day, right? All this. This stuff makes me sick. Like, it makes me sick. I was there as an idiot, Chuck E. Cheese. Meanwhile, the guy who's the CEO, again, another predator. Justin Bieber just innocently there singing because he loves to sing, and now he's taken and he's been abused in the industry and whatnot, what have you. And people still want to be like, oh, what's wrong with Justin Bieber? Now he's going to Coachella. I was like, oh, I hope he's going to sing. Everyone's still just like, it's like no matter what happens, everybody still just cares about what they want. Oh, we're going to should we separate the artist from the art from the artist? R. Kelly had a Christian album. Maybe we should separate the art. Yeah, because you want to listen to the music, because you enjoy the music. Like with Justin Bieber, people want to see him perform. I'm like, bro has been through hell. Let him live his life. Like, give him a break. But no, because what you want. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. People don't really care. We want to believe we care, but we don't. And I can see it the most when I see people who are just kind, innocent, pure-hearted souls just being exploited. It makes me sick to my stomach. So yeah, I can't believe this was the circle back. This is the full circle moment of my life. I started out talking about how Britney Spears and all of that, they're clearly fakes and phonies. And turns out that was all I was ever going to end up talking about. It turns out that's all I was ever going to be proving. It turns out, once again, I said something, I was nervous, I didn't know, like I remember because when I uploaded the video, if I hadn't, I got immediately like 1,500 views within like 48 hours, and I was just watching the views go up and I couldn't believe it because it's like my first official video. And if that hadn't happened and there was one particular comment where someone was like, I've never heard somebody explain the word, like the word of God like this, I feel like this is such a good, thank you for uploading this video. If I never got that comment, guys, I would have never continued. Can you imagine? It would have never got here. Those clouds look ugly. I need to get my skates on because I did not bring a coat with me. Well, but yeah, guys, I just had to get that off my chest before I get into today's videos, because I just the more I exist in this world, the dumber I feel like this place is, and the less I want to be here. And the fact that people think it's crazy that I have such disdain for being alive just goes to show how much people love this and love the chaos and love the destruction. And that's why I believe the Bible literally says, if you love the world, the love of the Father is not in you. Why are so many Christians so comfortable living in the world? Anyways, guys, I may make another video on my way back, or you will see me in my next videos, because that's what I'm going to do today. It's Sunday, so I'm taking advantage while I can, and I'm filming everything I need to film, especially because I'm waiting for the Sidemen Sunday this evening. So it'll just be the perfect day if I talk to my peoples, read you guys some Bible, and then chill for the rest of the day, watch the Sidemen Sunday before inevitably I get bothered by the adult population Monday morning when we get back to work and being slaves in Egypt. So if life's again, let's try to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.